Macarius was a notable Russian cleric, writer, and icon painter who served as the Metropolitan of Moscow in all Russia from 1542 until 1563. Early life and work on the Menaion. Macarius was born in the region around Moscow. His parents' names are known because he dedicates the great Menaion Reader to them. His secular name is thought to have been Mikhail. In the late 15th century, Macarius became a monk at the St. Paphnutius monastery in Borovsk, where he would serve as a reader, subdeacon, deacon, and priest. It was here that Macarius mastered the art of icon painting. He is also known to have been a firm supporter of Joseph Volotsky and his disciples. In 1523, Metropolitan Daniel raised Macarius to the rank of archimandrite of a monastery in Mozhaisk. It was there that Macarius became acquainted with the Grand Prince of Moscow, Vasily III. He was one of a few clerics who supported Vasily III's divorce from the Baron Solomonia Saburova and blessed his second marriage with Elena Glinskaya. In 1526, Macarius was appointed Archbishop of Novgorod, where he conducted pro-Muscovite policies. In 1533 and again in 1535, he sent the monk Ilya and others on missionary work among the Finno-Ugric peoples along the Neva, Lakes Ladoga and Onega, and up into the Kola Peninsula. In 1541, Macarius and his companions finished work on the first edition of the great work, the Great Menaion Reader. This compilation of lives of the Russian saints comprised 12 volumes arranged on monthly basis. He is also credited with beginning the Stepanarniga, which traced Ivan the Terrible's lineage back to a fictitious brother of Caesar Augustus, named Prus. He is also said to have painted the icons in the little iconostasis of the Cathedral of Holy Wisdom in Novgorod. Metropolitan of Russia. Having secured the support of powerful Prince Andrei Shuisky, Macarius was elected Metropolitan of Moscow in all Russia on March 16, 1542. During Ivan IV's nonage and Shuisky's regency, Macarius's relations with the Boyar Duma gradually worsened due to his constant grief over the disgrace of courtiers and church dignitaries. His independent-mindedness induced a number of attempts to dislodge him. In the summer of 1544, Macarius escaped a sure death in the fire raging in the Moscow Kremlin. 3 years later, he took part in removing Ivan's maternal relatives, the Glinskys, from the Russian government. Upon becoming one of the closest advisors of Ivan the Terrible, Macarius arranged his coronation on January 16, 1547. That same year, he blessed the Tsar's marriage with Anastasia Sakarievna Yurieva. Macarius was an active participant at the Zemsky Sobors of 1547, 1549, and 1550, advocating conciliation between the opposing boyar groups. During the Synod of 1542, Macarius achieved the excommunication of Maximus the Greek's associate Isaac Sobarka. Curiously enough, Macarius would later correspond with the exiled Maximus the Greek and include some of his essays in his The Great Menaion Reader, rejecting, however, his appeals for pardon. During Stoglav and other such synods, Macarius carried out canonization of 39 all-Russian saints. In 1551, Macarius convened the so-called Stoglavi Sobor. He also blessed the Russian army before its departure to Kazan in 1552. During his Kazan campaign in 1559, Ivan the Terrible left Macarius in Moscow to protect the Tsardom, which made him a temporary head of state. In 1552 and 1554, Macarius completed the second and third editions of the Het Menaion. During the church councils in 1553 to 1555, Macarius supported the accusations of heresy aimed at boyar son Matvey Bashkin, Starets Artemy, a monk Feodosy Kosay. However, he took the side of Sylvester, a monk at the Annunciation Cathedral in the Moscow Kremlin, who had been accused by Dyak Ivan Viskovity in uncanonical wall painting of the above-mentioned cathedral. When the Tsar was away from Moscow, Macarius was in charge of diplomatic negotiations and dispatching messengers abroad with different deeds. The painting of the St. Basil's Cathedral and Kremlin's Golden Chamber was carried out with his assistance. He also took part in compiling the chronicle of the beginning of Tsardom of Tsar and Grand Prince Ivan Vasilievich I.e., an official chronicle of Ivan the Terrible's reign, and the Regal Book, an illuminated manuscript about Ivan's reign and policies. Later years. In his declining years, Macarius moved away from the affairs of the state. He supervised the creation of the Stepanaya Niga, supported Ivan Fyodorov's book printing, and renovated icons. Metropolitan Macarius died on January 12 of 1563 and was buried in the Cathedral of the Dormition of the Moscow Kremlin. After his death, they wrote his life and a tale of the last days of Metropolitan Macarius. Macarius was canonized by the Russian Orthodox Church in 1988. His icon hangs in a niche over the archway of the entrance to the Russian State Archive of Ancient Documents in Moscow.